You are listening to Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. I am your host, Chanel Scott. I'm a psychic medium and energy healer who has been supporting those on a spiritual journey for over a decade. I'm your tour guide into the world of the unknown, showing you that the magic of the universe is at your fingertips. I believe spirituality is simple and fun, and this podcast will make it easily accessible, giving you the real talk on all things divine and spiritual, helping you to step into the flow. Manifesting your dreams because we all deserve to be living our best life. Are you ready for an adventure? Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to a new episode of Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. My name is Chanel, and I am your host and your spiritual tour guide on this beautiful journey we call life. Are you ready? Why you feel blocked and what your soul is trying to tell you. When we are open and willing, even maybe a little vulnerable, we allow ourselves to open up to what our soul is actually telling us. So many people show up to work with me that feel incredibly lost. And that was me even once upon a time. Feeling like, there's something wrong, there's something blocked and in the way, but you can't figure it out. So, first and foremost, if we actually were trained to pay attention to our feelings and emotions and our physical sensations in our body, we would recognize that so much more is going on. Unfortunately, the societal beliefs of the past have shut us down. Quit crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Pull up your big girl panties and let's go. Dry your tears and let's do the thing. We aren't honoring the feelings. Get over it. Just do it. We just are taught to force and push. But the reality is, if we actually were aware enough to pay attention, we would recognize that something is happening. Once upon a time, my girlfriend, who's a psychotherapist, soul food psychotherapy, check out Penny, she said to me, anxiety is the body telling you that something is out of balance. My daughter suffers from anxiety, and so we were having a big discussion about it. And that was a game changer for me. And it wasn't something that I wasn't already aware of, but just the way she said it that day just landed in a different way for me. And what I share is that when feelings, triggers, emotions, physical sensation in the body comes up, that is your body signaling you and saying something is not in balance right now. We are out of alignment. We don't feel safe. Subconscious beliefs are coming to the surface. So many things. But again, what we do is we shove it back down and just get on with our day. And I totally admit that I do it all the time. But it's so powerful when we take the pause and actually sit with it. So one of my personal rules of thumb, part of my spiritual practice, is that when something comes up, I invite myself to pause. I don't always have the opportunity to work with whatever that is in that moment, but I still invite myself to pause and acknowledge it. At that moment, you have the choice to feed it, to fuel it, or to step back from it. And I, most of the time, choose to step back. If I don't have time to actually sit with it, I will actually document it. I often text myself because that's a really easy way to do things. I'll text myself. I will put a note in my phone or a reminder in my phone so that I have this remembering to come back to something that I felt triggered by. Because sometimes I don't have the time in that moment and I want to give it my full attention. especially if it's going to teach me something and allow me to understand a place that I have shortcomings or triggers or belief systems that I can be shifting and embodying something new that feels better for me. So it is important for us to acknowledge these things. Ideally, again, we don't want to fuel whatever it is, because that takes us into a different, that takes us out of our intuition and takes us straight into straight emotion. And sometimes it takes us into our logic of mind where we just spin and spiral. Whereas if we can stay in this heart-centered space, in this place of intuition, we'll call it, we can stop and actually allow ourselves to experience it in a different way, in a place of detachment. Detachment does not mean lack of emotion. I just want to be so clear about that. But detachment says, hey, I want to work with this, but I don't want to be consumed by it so I can actually see what's going on. When we fuel it, think of it like a temper tantrum. When you see kids and you can see it like bubbling and explode, when we fuel it, that's often what happens. And when we see those kids in full speed temper tantrum, we recognize that they are not in a state, they are completely dysregulated, and they are not in a place to do any healing work, to hear anybody, any of those things. But when we choose detachment, we have the ability to remove ourselves ever so slightly, to maybe do a nervous system reset to make sure we're in a place of regulation, and to allow ourselves the space to witness what is coming up. We're not necessarily analyzing, we are witnessing. When we learn to connect and to be aware, we have this ability to actually see what is happening and to witness it. It will tell us exactly what we need to see. So here comes the second part of this. And this is the trickier part of this, like what your soul is trying to tell you. So your soul is telling you that something is out of alignment. The challenge is actually discovering what that is. And that starts with two things: openness and vulnerability. If we are not willing to have these two things, it makes it a lot harder to step into what is going on. Openness feels like the easier part. We are often open to see whatever is coming through. We are not always willing to accept that, which is part of the block. But the vulnerability piece of it is like opening up to a different layer. The vulnerability is the willingness to see this for what it is and to allow whatever needs to come up surface. What we will often do is see the message and go, oh, I'm not doing that, push it back down again. When the reality is that if we are not willing to see the thing, to accept the emotions that come up, to recognize the triggers that come up, yes, we just talked about this, to actually see the message for what it is coming through, we cannot actually make a shift. We cannot actually see what the block is. And the other hard part about this is that a lot of things that come up are just symptoms from the root. And I like to use that term symptom because when we look at illness, per se, we often look at the symptoms. And we try to diagnose based on the symptoms, but the reality is we have to get to the root cause of the problem. Yes, I've got a headache. That is a symptom of dehydration, which is the actual problem. So when we look at our blocks that way, we need to recognize that there is typically a root block or belief system story that you tell yourself. And from that, we create many symptoms which actually still trickle back to the original. The one that I see all the time is money. People think their money blocks have been created on their own, and 99% of the time they are not. They are a symptom of something deeper. And if you are not willing to go to the root, you're not actually going to clear that money block because it's just going to show up in a different way. So yeah, it's a challenge to actually get to the root. But that's my superpower. And I love working with clients and actually taking you back to the place where it started. To be able to recognize that thing that you created, that subconscious belief, and how to pivot it and to understand all those symptoms that come with it. So yeah, you feeling blocked. The soul is trying to tell you something. And the question is really, are you willing to listen? Are you allowing yourself to witness what your soul is sharing with you? Because it can be big. I know this is a challenge, and that is one of the reasons I created Come Home to Your Sacred Self. This 6-month container, this 6-month program is all about unraveling this piece, about learning how to acknowledge our bodies and the awareness that we need in them. It is about getting to the root cause of the problem. It's about creating spiritual practices that fill your cup, that become integrated into your day and don't take a lot of time and energy. It is about honoring who you are and the things that bring you pleasure. This journey is about coming home to yourself and really getting lasting change because you're doing the work to get to the bottom of it all. It's not just a money problem, like I said. It goes much deeper than that. So if you want to take this journey with me, doors close on June 27th to registration. This is the beta launch of this program, and it is at a undeniably amazing beta price that will only be offered until June 27th. After that, the price goes up to $2,222 because, of course, it's an angel number. But the beta launch price is a fraction of that, a very small fraction of that. So if you want to get in on this founder's level and be a part of the growth of this program, of sharing your feedback and really asking for what you need, it is time to go on over to my website from theheartandsoul.com and check out Come Home to Your Sacred Self and make sure that you register to get all your bonuses before Friday, June 27th, 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today and having a listen about the blocks that we feel, because that's why people come to me. They feel blocked, they feel stuck, they feel planted where they are and want something bigger and better and more joyful. And I am here for the journey, and I am here to cheer you on. And most of all, I am here to see you win, because there is enough room for all of us to win. And I can't wait to see your journey. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. From my heart and soul to yours. Until the next time, my friends. Bye now.